evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight I would love the opportunity to talk to you about an issue that's really close to my heart. Imagine never being able to be a child. All of those amazing memories that you have, some of your best memories, stripped away from you, destroyed, and never to be given back. You were forced to grow up, to be pushed down, abused, beaten, and used. Before you even got to experience real love, before you knew your rights, they were already taken away from you. Every 26 seconds, a child is trafficked and enslaved, most of them into sexual slavery, which means that by the end of my speech, almost 12 children will have been enslaved. That's 138 children every hour, and 3,323 children every single day. The average age of human trafficking victims is 12 years old, but at the age of 5, a lot of children are already in the industry. These kids have not even hit high school yet, and already their innocence is taken away. Children are sold so that families can stay out of poverty. Traffickers are deceiving families, saying that their children are going to have a better life with them, with an education, medical care that they couldn't provide. And some children are even stolen off of the streets. But regardless of the cause, human trafficking is illegal, a violation against human rights, and I would go as far as to say an abomination against humanity. Former President Bush addressed the UN General Assembly by stating this in 2003. There is a special evil in the abuse and exploitation of the most innocent and vulnerable. The victims of the sex trade see little of life before they see the very worst of life. An underground of brutality and lonely fear. Those who create these victims and profit from their suffering must be severely punished. And those who patronise this industry debase themselves and deepen the misery of others. This statement was made 11 years ago, yet still only 1 to 2% of human trafficking victims are being rescued, and only 1 out of 100,000 traffickers are actually being convicted of their crimes and punished. The targets of human trafficking are usually found in developing countries because of the lack of education and because of the poverty that hits there. It's so easy to deceive them, and it's so hard to trace the kidnappings that occur. Some children grow up not knowing their rights or their worth. They believe that selling their body is a responsibility, their job to provide for their family. 4 years ago, my parents went to Thailand. While walking down a street near a red light district, they were approached by two women. One was a young girl, no older than 5, and an elderly grandmother. They were selling leis. When my parents bought a lei, the grandmother tried to force the 5-year-old girl to kiss my dad, and the girl was horrified. Thankfully, my parents refused it. But right now, 5 years down the track, where is she? Is she safe? Or being in one of the most dangerous places of the world for this kind of industry, has she been enslaved, just like the others? But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we have a voice in this. The UN stated that every single country has some form of human trafficking going on, whether they're a country of origin, transit, or destination. That means that we are responsible. DeAndre Lampkin once said that in this great land of the free will, we call it human trafficking. And so long as we don't partake in the luxury, ignoring slavery is of no consequence. It's much easier to look away and ignore the victims. The person who ignores slavery justifies it by quickly deducting that the victim is a willing participant hampered by misfortune. In our country, we assume that prostitution is always a choice. We assume that working is always a choice, but it's not. We assume that slavery ended a long time ago, but it didn't. We assume that our governments are taking care of these people who are suffering and dealing with the issue. We assume that they are using their Millennium Goals and using their budget to help them, but they're not. That's why it is our turn to stand up and do something.